Good morning, willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome. Today welcome to the cabaret, cabaret. How was your weekend? Was it good? I see a few comments getting started. We've got a few guys are already rolling, up and running. I thought we would talk about a little bit today about what if we start introducing a guitar strap to our practice. And then I thought also, because I've been really sort of like, I know we have some finger stylists here, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens when we incorporate, fingernail shape, and we'll talk a little bit about that today, because I think we're getting ready to start, really study a little bit of classical as well. And all right, so we've got good morning. One, and then we have good Raul, Anthony, good morning. Kevin, let's see, good morning from frigid New Jersey. I see snowy Pittsburgh this morning, a snowy Pittsburgh, that's wild. And it's also, Anthony, anywhere close in North Wildwood. About 2 hours north Wildwood in Bloomfield, but I've been to North Wildwood many times. So you guys I haven't seen any weather. Actually, I've spent most of the weekend trying to nurse and eradicate this cold that I've had for a week now, and I think I have successfully managed to do this. And so you shouldn't have to hear any coughing and all that stuff. But we've got a lot going today, and I'll start with yep, that's A440. Any big news over the weekend? It was cold here, 1 degree, 10 degrees feels like 1. It was just really a beautiful weekend. The dogs were out, running around, and try to take it easy as best we could. Here's your A440. If you're just jumping on, welcome. We have a tune-up cycle, and usually Monday mornings we try to bring it back to, bring it back in, dial it in. We have a metronome running at 60 beats per minute. I do have an electronic space heater running in here, so if that's too much for you, if it's too noisy, just let me know. My guess is it's likely that we'll have a complaint about the metronome being placed so close to the phone before we hear any other complaints about any other stuff. But let's go ahead and just gotta get moving here. So I'm working on tuning the guitar. I'm also carefully taking stock of what I've got going on for breath work at the moment. So if you're sticking around, if you have a guitar, we'll go through this tune-up process, and it's basically our on-ramp. I think later today also, I know it's kind of fun to just play some flat picking stuff and just really take it easy. So we have Big Rock Candy Mountain. The video for that should drop later today, and that's quite a fun song. There's a lot going on there that's in those simple old-timey songs, a lot to examine, a lot to unpack, and I think you might enjoy that session too. So I'm just getting back into my world of nearing 100% performance, health, and I spent all last week not being able to breathe, so I'm really going to try to dial in my breath this morning. but we'll start with one of these approaches where we're just taking it easy, and the guitar's in tune. I'm taking a look at D a little bit right now. I think we're pretty close. We have some new things to talk about. We're reviewing some of the Steve Vai workout. We're adding probably just a little bit of experience with the augmented scale, a symmetrical scale this morning. I worked out a few things this weekend that I'd love to share with you. Pretty easy, low barrier stuff. And there's some arpeggio techniques that I started working on that I thought would be a pretty easy, relatively easy to share with the gang here. So if we've got a lot of work to do, so what I'll go ahead and do is get us started. We'll get us kicked off here. And by kicked off, I mean fingers 3 and 4. Good day, Beck. And also, I think we're going to take a look at one of, this week we're going to take a look at Mr. Tortorella's, one of his, a deep cut from from his group. So let's take a look at fingers 3 and 4 on frets 11 and 12. Ready? 1 E. Let's take a look at 16th. I know we don't, we could want to do 16th, but let's start off with 2 attacks per beat this Monday, okay? 1 and 2, and you know what to do. And this is really where the rubber meets the road right here. Our first run down the fretboard. We're running some neck here. And I'm just really focusing on my breathing here. Just trying to even everything out and get my person into the right frame of mind so I can have a productive and meaningful morning ritual. And it's so easy to start the day and be mentally speeding. This is part of my exercise to overcome that, being an unobservant person. I want to continue to improve myself through my guitar practice. And because I get better and more fluent in these exercises, doesn't necessarily correlate to the speed of the exercises. Can you train a monkey to do this? Maybe, if I'm doing it, I know that that's pretty close to being possible. Gregory Alan Isaacov. I'll take a look. Good morning to you, Ismail. Thank you for being here today. We are warming up, and if you are new here, I'm assuming that if you're here, you may have been here before, and we have some representation from the channel in the chat, in the live chat, from Kevin, Raul, and Anthony, and B, who are here, regularly contributing to the live chat every morning, and they're all skilled guitarists in their own right. So if you do have questions, if they do start answering, you can easily rely on their answers as a quality and thoughtful experience. So they're working hard to gain public trust in these sort of forums, and that's to be definitely appreciated and utilized. So let's go ahead and take a look at fingers 2 and 3. Same program. Ready? 1 and 2 and 1. You know what to do. Here we go. So what we're doing, Ishmael, is we're going through our morning ritual, which is a sequence of breath work, tuning. Tuning is continual. We always want to be a student of the tuning of the guitar. And I'm talking evenly because I try not to get in the way. I'm assuming there are several of us here practicing along with this morning live stream, which is going to happen every day, 5 days a week anyway, at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for all of 2025. Yeah, and I mean, what a silly thing to do, right? But I think I'm going to be here anyway, so I want to make some serious gains in my guitar life this year as we approach. Well, we have arrived at a place consistent with a quarter of a century. So this is sort of it's a silver anniversary for the year 2000. So this is sort of a big year for me, you know. And what am I doing about becoming a better guitar player? First, a better disciple, right? And then second, a better person. And then, you know, placing my faith where it belongs. And then go ahead and work on breathing so that all of our physical activities sort of align with our mental disciplines and spiritual disciplines. You know, I think it's just something I want to really personally, I want to be able to take a look at the gains that I did. We'll do fingers 1 and 2, same thing. We'll start at the bottom. And we're going to take 1 and 2 and T and 4. And I'll be live streaming 𝗶𝗃. Yeah, 𝗶𝗃 is nice. There you go. I mean, 𝗟𝗏𝘁𝗄. Does anybody remember 𝗟𝗏𝘁𝗄? Like 1 and 2 and T and 4 and 1 and 2 and T and 4. LMAO, are you streaming for the whole year? Good morning, everybody. If you're just popping in, we're working through a morning ritual, and again, it's, you know, I don't want to sound like I don't want to uninvite anybody, but this is definitely for some, and it may not be for others. You know, the reason you might want to be here and just be aware of what's going on for the rest of the year is if you're a guitar player and you want to put in the seat time, put in the, you know, the practice time, and realize over a period of 130 to 150 plus hours of practice, just warming up. I'm not even talking about practice, but focused, good quality, focused practice time will, you know, a half an hour a day, 5 days a week is roughly 130 hours a year. So what we're going to do is take the first video that we made of this entire live stream series, the Morning Ritual for Guitar Growth series. And we did that a few weeks ago or whatever, you know, just before we started launching this official 25 run. We're going to take that video, take a look at the technique, and compare it with the video techniques of a year from now. And we're going to compare everything. We're going to compare postures, we're going to compare wardrobes, you know, we're going to compare video backgrounds. We're going to compare, like, but the most important things we're going to take a look at, right, picking hand and fretting hand techniques. Tone, there's an entire rubric that we're going to use to basically compare all of the work we've done so that we can literally review the gains and fully appreciate what we have accomplished together in our own rights. Okay. This is the coolest jazz I've ever heard. Adam, good morning. Have you heard 𝗏𝗶𝘃𝗃 Orchestra? That's pretty fun. Joe Pass's like Rockin' in Rhythm, My Story or something like that. It's a wonderful record, great ensemble work. Let's take a look at fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're using, before we do that, let's go ahead and give the 3rd and 4th fingers a little bit of a stretch. Ready? Frets 10 and 12, two attacks per beat. 1 and 2 and T and fo and. Yeah, Nat Hentoff used to use, he was a great writer, and he wrote a book called Writing Jazz. I think it was called Writing Jazz. And he talks about the act of writing as if it were a jazz improvisation, and he writes like his writing was a jazz improvisation. And just amazing, just an amazing book. I think if you haven't looked at it yet, you would, this definitely is jazz, because largely what I'm trying to do is keep you, sort of engaged with what I'm currently up to at the moment, so that if you're just joining, you can jump right in with us. But if you're playing along, like several of us together are doing these woodshed moments, you can not be interrupted by what I'm saying, right? So there's a balance here a technical balance for me that I don't want to disrupt you, but I do want to encourage. I want to help and not hinder. Helping is the name of the game here, and not to be too esoteric about it, but it's just I want to just get basically right down to the crux of the problem, and get over that crux, so getting to the summit is a little easier from henceforth. 2 attacks per beat, using fingers 3 and 4 with a stretch. These are for our good friends. All of the chords from the Chord Chemistry series right here on the channel. So this should make our adventures together through the Chord Chemistry series quite a bit more palatable, or at least more comfortable for the fingers, right? Fingers 2 and 3, same thing, 10 and 12. 1 and 2 and T and fo and. Oh yeah, 𝗓𝗔𝗄, Sweet Child of Mine. Sweet Child of Mine, let's see. Sweet Child of Mine, sir, please. I am knighted in a couple disciplines, so it is, in some circles, you would definitely refer to my person comfortably as sir. But I haven't been knighted by the Queen, so I don't have that. I don't actually hold that title in public-facing forum. But you could, I definitely appreciate that as a title of respect. The best boy. I tried learning guitar, but I failed. Oh man. Finger hurt. Can you give some tip? Oh yeah, the best boy. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Sir, please, Sweet Child of Mine. And then I see B. Beck drop in the super chat. I suppose that if you want to, I always liked the way Miles Davis would handle it. He would always just preach it from the heart. All of the things that he did musically were very intentional and very deeply connected to his internal workings and his practice. And he always said, you can't improvise what you haven't practiced, right? If you haven't practiced it, you can't play what you don't know. Oh, no, you're not being rude at all. I'm happy that you're here. We're all happy that you're here, right? Let me talk about how 𝗕𝗍𝗃. Let me just do that. I'll say it 𝗕𝗍𝗃. Konnichiwa. So let's take a look at, sorry for being rude. That's not, you don't have to apologize for me. I mean, sir, how to practice the pentatonic scale. We have a couple of things we're going to talk about here. The best boy, I tried learning guitar but failed. That's a tough feeling to experience and a tough one to shoulder. But if you're into the guitar, I've had, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, at least hundreds and hundreds of students face to face over the years, but probably more like thousands of students, I guess, worldwide. And so we've got finger 1 and 2, and we're going to get that started, and I'll continue on my discussion. And I want to thank Mr. B. Beck again for this wonderful, wonderful gift of the super chat, a super sticker. Those are so helpful, and it's a rejuvenating experience for me when I see those roll by. So I definitely appreciate that gesture. And you know, we always said in a previous line of work that you can't change the world if you can't keep the lights on, right? So that's definitely appreciated. So we have fingers 1 and 3, or 1 and 2, frets 10 and 12. Ready? I'm going to talk a little bit about a few things as we proceed. 1 and 2 and T and fo and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and so on and so forth, just like this until we descend all. Good morning, Marlon. I see you there. I'm getting ready to do a members only live stream, so maybe just keep an eye out for that. So another thing about, we have the best boy here saying that he's tried and failed at guitar. I've never had a student actually fail at the guitar. I've had students roll into my office in a wheelchair with their wrists fused together, so we had to play the guitar. You know, we had to adapt to, you know, new ways to serve the self, you know, to kind of reach people on like, you know, I've got my own limitations, and I'm sure my teachers have made concessions to teach me and not be totally frustrated with me, but it is one of those things where if you really want it, you know, you can definitely do it. And a lot of it comes from doing these exercises here. And I know I want to play the next Luke Bryan song, you know, Hunting, Fishing, Loving Every Day, or, you know, any of those, Sweet Child of Mine, for example. Those songs are so gratifying and so highly rewarding to play that it's hard to want to it's hard to put away that desire for just to park it for a minute and let the engine run, or put it on the back burner and let it simmer while we learn some basic fundamental techniques so that we can make song learning or achieving our goals that much more effective and easily obtainable. So that's my recommendation as I would work through that stuff. So I see that we're on for about 20 minutes now. I have not stretched yet, so I'm going to stretch right now. And I know this is a great time. I see some questions coming in I haven't addressed, so this is a great time for me to respond and chat, just be here with you and chat. I'm using just simple straight elbow, and then I'm pulling back evenly on each finger, right? Because I want each finger to get a good stretch, and I've developed a feel for where I want to be at over the seasons of my guitar playing. I don't want to pull because I do not want to injure or hyperextend any tendons. I don't want to put any micro tears in any tissue and create scarring, you know. I just want to breathe in and breathe out. 15 seconds each location. The best boy, is my explanation helpful at all, or is that my response helpful to you at all? All right, let's take it. Yeah, Marlon, great to see you, Marlon. We have, is that chromatic? Haas, yeah. I used to have we used to own a Haas farm. I love Haas's, man. Yeah. Is that chromatic? It is sort of chromatic. You're right. Good question. Will you be getting? Why are you still getting fret buzz? Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't adjusted my truss rod like I told you I was going to do last week because I was sick, and I'm glad you're noticing that. Sometimes my string, I like to run low action, so I like to run really low action so that it makes it a little easier for me to play. I'm less concerned about playing like I'm running a cannon and I'm not trying to play over the top of a banjo right now, so I can get my action a little lower. But if I do play too hard, you do hear it bark, the strings bark back at me. So it's one of those give and takes, you know. You don't contract the bridge hand. Pig Daddy. Pig Daddy, that's great, love it. I'll be streaming FIFA, that's good to know, loving the FIFA. Hummingwood, when you do a video on how to adjust it, oh, is that where you wanted to see the truss rod adjustment? Pig Daddy, your fingers at length get a better stretch contracting from extension. It's called peripheral neuromuscular lengthening. Okay, so say that again. Fingers at length get a better stretch contracting from extension. Oh yeah, so that's what we're doing right here. I believe that's what we're doing. How do you correctly tune a guitar? This is a great place to be for that. So this live stream is something that is going to happen over the span of the entire 2025. And so we have experts clearly in the live chat, right? So we have a handful of live chatters who show up pretty religiously to this live stream. And they are typically there, and they are also available to generate meaningful questions that are timely. They also are there to respond to meaningful questions that are timely in the live chat. They're very qualified guitar players in their own rights. So we have this sort of luxurious situation building, right? So if you do have questions and I'm playing along, we'll wait for another stretch, which happens 15 minutes. Or you can continue, you know, letting the chat come in, talking about those songs and making those requests to like do a truss rod adjustment video. You know, there's not always a guitar tech handy, and this is all stuff that I believe I can do myself, and I have done myself over the years through trial and error. I read a lot of books on lutherie, guitar building. I'm a textbook sort of person. I love to read and absorb technical manuals and textbooks. So that's definitely something I enjoy doing. And let's see. Raul, amen. Chris Clay, howdy partner, howdy. So let's take a look. We're back on track, warming up, almost on time here. Fingers 2, 3, and 4. And I just gotta just take a sip of the bean here real quick, if you did, just excuse me. All right, that pick's going to disrupt that. Yeah, here we go. If you're new here, this is a live stream, morning ritual. I mean, you might know it's a live stream. You may have noticed it's a live stream, but it's happening every day, 5 days a week. Let's get into this. Fingers 2, 3, and 4. Bring your guitar, tune it right up, play along with us. 2, 3, and 4, frets 10, 11, and 12. And we're using 2 attacks per beat because it's Monday. We're just getting we're just becoming observant for the week, setting the tone for the week. Ready? 1 and 2, and here we go. And I think we're doing pretty well for this Monday. And I noticed that I have a pretty straight neck right now, and I need a little bit more relief in it. And it is pretty it is pretty, touch and go when I really am more focused on tonal production than I am anything else. And I would encourage you to be, it's whatever I play, I would also want to listen to. Ooh, there's a little bark right there. Did you hear that? Just pushing it a little bit too much. Some of us compensate, from the lower strings are a little bigger, more massive, therefore they're a little louder by in nature. But sometimes when I get to the top of the guitar, I feel like I need to compensate by stroking harder, and that's not the case, because that will change the tone of the string. That will change the delivery. If you are here and you think you have a friend who would enjoy this live stream, I definitely appreciate you. I'd encourage you to share the live stream, and the fact that it's going to happen 5 days a week for the rest of this entire year. If you have a friend or a family member or a bandmate or whatever that you want to, I also train bands, we build it from the ground up. And that kind of thing, ensembles. But if you have friends who would like to join us, it's a great thing to do. And once in a while, I'll just do a little shameless self-promotion, because there's no other way, if you don't know who I am, what we could possibly get out of this time together. And I kind of wish there was a little bit of like a USB port there that I can just download, upload, and then you can download, and vice versa, and just have the whole conversation at one moment. But fortunately for us, we're engaged in a time-based art form. So we have this time-based media. So it's not like building a composition in two-dimensional art or 3D art where there's movement. We can imply movement, and we can imply focal point, we can imply all of these things, but we can't imply time. The passage of time literally is part of our art form. Fingers 1, 2, and 3, same idea. 1 and 2 and T and O. So we persist. Patience and perseverance is accomplishing all. Sorry, I had a little hiccup there. I don't know what that was. But you can see all of this raw footage. It can be useful to observe and think, and analyze for yourself, because now you can go back and look later and say, hey, wow, his technique was really slabby right here, or maybe he wasn't breathing correctly. Or there was that one moment where if he was a free climber, he would have been toast, So all of those things are great, I think in large part sharing your goals and where you would like to be in the next, let's say 3 months, is helpful for this live stream, because what we do is we develop programming based around your requests, your suggestions. You're literally here. The people here in this live stream that spend the time are the ones who are, the drivers of progress or paths forward. They're part and partner of, what we all tend to, it's the group think, it's the group voice. And one of the things that we try to do is just show up and play the guitar. And then get through the morning ritual is typically a half an hour. And I typically I've been running a little bit over. And I definitely appreciate your time, though. So I will be cognizant as we proceed in tightening up this plan and getting you in and out of the morning ritual so that we can maximize the time that we have, and so that you can continue on with your practices and studies and life without much interruption. You know, I know some of us need to get going on our own practice routine once we're warm. So there are some here who have bands or recording, touring. There are some who just want to learn how to play around the campfire. Some of us are just content with being able to entertain ourselves. And that's all okay, right? And we're approaching the last of this 1, 2, 3. So you can hear if I push a little too hard, the string does bark at me. Any Aubrey song, please? Oh, Joel, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, fella. Good idea. I really love the idea. And here's to your request. What is the best strumming pattern, strumming technique for forgiveness? For beginners, Okay. Okay, what do you think? Should we do, Joel, hang out and we may get to some requests. Right now what you've walked into is a morning guitar ritual where we're all involved. If you haven't brought your guitar, please show up again tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and warm up with us. We cover tuning, we cover breathing work, we cover tuning, we cover chromatic style passages for finger warm-up, and then we start working on some post warm-up and transition into, you know, segue into the next part of our day. And usually this is done in 1/2 hour, but we've been running over because we're dialing in our morning ritual at the moment. So welcome, and I appreciate the questions. Thank you. And we're using finger 1, 2, 3, 4, frets 9, 10, 11, and 12. And follow me with this one if you would. If you are here and you have your guitar, it's great for the soul. It's great for everything. 1 and 2, and you know what to do. Robert Pruitt, we also talk about tuning every lesson, so every morning, so I would definitely encourage you to show up for that. That's always at the beginning. We always start with tuning because that's the on-ramp to, that's the gateway to a successful practice habit, a practice pattern, a practice routine, you know, the daily grind, the daily ritual, the morning ritual. So being in tune is supremely important. Being in time can be supremely important, but if I'm in bed, let's say I'm a bedroom guitar player and all I'm ever going to do is play Guns N' Roses songs by myself and without a band, I don't really need to focus all that much on my time. I don't really need to know how to count. But if I'm going to play with a band or a small ensemble, it's probably a good idea, and it might, some of us might even deem it essential to learn how to count. You know, so I would work on that. And yeah, we're just having the time of our lives right now. We can feel our fingers coming back to life. I see 9 likes too, and while we have 25 viewers now, if you all want to just run over and hit that like button, we could meet our quota for likes. You know, we just try to get it right up and around over 20 if we can. And if we can't, no big deal. That's not why we're here. But if there are a number of likes and other viewers might see this, thank you, might see this video coming by and might be more likely to join. So number one, I thank you for doing that. I also thank you for clicking the like button right now. But if you're practicing, you know, don't do it. Don't disrupt your your flow state. But also sharing this live stream with others is supremely helpful, and I'm very thankful for that. And again, this live stream is not for everyone, but for those of us who do want to, shoot for perfection, we do show up. We seem to have a few of us here really wanting something out of the guitar this year. This year is our year. This is the year that we change our lives, right? This is the year we it's observable. The amount of change that we commit to making in our guitar lives, we're literally going to be able to assess that after this year runs by. So that's a really exciting thing for me, right? Yesterday we started with some Steve Vai 10. We started with Friday. We started with figures 1, 2, and 3 from Steve Vai's 10-hour super famous 10-hour guitar workout. And excuse me, we're going to review that today, and then we're going to add one more of those. But first, we'll go through this 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonal exercise. Are you guys playing this with me, Tony? You playing this? So we're using 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 reverse, right? And then we're taking that pattern and we're going down a fret, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 4, 3, 2, 1 in reverse, and then descend the pattern. Yeah, all right, it's good. It's the good stuff. This is the framework that we want to develop with the right hand. We want to develop the hand can skid out over the strings, or some of us call it sweep pick, right? So we're looking for this technique eventually, and we're going to see some documentation about why we're going to need to see this develop these sweep techniques today, a little later today. So let's do the old down up though. I also use it. I love to use this as a down up, like an alternate picking sequence exercise. So let's take a look. 1 and 2 and yes, playing along with your metronome. Awesome, dude. That's so good to know. That's exactly the way I was hoping this would work. We're going to see like monumental gains. Like we're laying the cornerstones right now, right in the northeast corner. We're laying the cornerstone down, and then upon which we can build the edifice, and a solid edifice. We're building a 500-year building instead of a stick-built 50-year structure or 100-year structure, right? So we're building a much longer lasting and more deep-rooted quality than we typically would take the time for, right? So we'll start with fingers 1, 2, 3, 4 on fret position 9, D string, 1 and 2 and D and 4 and we'll use 2 attacks per beat. I know it's painful sometimes, but as long as you're breathing correctly, I find as long as I'm breathing correctly, this all makes for some really special sauce, right? It's just, now I'm thinking, what happens if I create a situation where I let each note ring for as long as it possibly can, or do I let each note ring, oh shoot, sorry to throw you off there, but I'm fret 5, shifting up to 6, position 6. And making this a musical experience is super important. I don't know if you listen to how Mr. Kurt Rosenwinkel practices, but he's definitely working on the musicality of everything he does, even his scale work, So here we go. 1, 2, 4 middle strings. Go. That was a little idea for you if you want to use it. Right, so we can add other rhythmic breakdowns, so the permutations can just, you know, you can develop those in your own time. So 1 and 2, and we'll start here again. Oh. Vikram Kumar, yes, good morning. Hi, I'm from India. Good morning and welcome. It's kind of weird. I've been getting these requests to like do these, you know, to get these commissions and affiliate links to these things and apps like, you know, Guitar Slammer or whatever it is, you know, and I don't think that there is any substitution for the, I mean, maybe there is, maybe there's a value add somewhere, but I haven't looked enough at any of this stuff to determine whether it's, you know, for the most part, I think it's just good to just do the things that I need to get done. 1 and 2, bottom 4 strings, go. I wanted to thank B again for his super chat. That's the second in a row. Yeah, didn't you? You dropped one on Friday too. That's definitely appreciated, you know, as long as you're not hurting yourself, you know, that's great. I really am thankful. And then we're headed back up to the place from whence we came. Position number 3 now, and then position number 4, and then 5. And then position number 6, 7, 8. Good. So you're definitely what are you playing, Vikram? Are you playing guitar? Okay. I dug this out last week. We've got to just get moving on. We'll keep moving, okay? We've got this Steve Vai 10-hour guitar workout, and I know my guitar workout looks like a lot like this. This is the Chromatic. This was figure 1 where we started with down, up, 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 and then instead of doing the descending pattern, the first figure 1 on Steve Vai's pattern is just Utah, good morning. I really want to buy that book. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's crazy. It's like insane. I'm just going to keep releasing. How you doing? Utah, we're doing great. Thanks for joining us this morning. I hope you brought your guitar. I see Felipe Barrio. Greetings from Colombia. Thank you for being here today. Colombia. Yeah, and then good morning, Jason. I see another one. Filippo was message retracted, but that's how you doing? That book seems great. It's a great one. It's we're going to take a look at it just real briefly, you know, and So instead of using the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So instead of using that down up down up down up stuff, he, you know, and then using 1, 2, 3, 4, and then descending, it's always just down up. It's just always ascending. Which sets up another fingering problem, right? So that's figure number 1. Figure number 2 is where we end up going frets number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're shifting our step. So each finger gets a different sort of, oh, if you're here right now, real quick, while it's fresh in your mind, can you hit that like button for me on the, just let's get us up to 20 likes if you don't mind. I mean, it's not important. I don't, you know, it's not a big deal, but if you're here, I see 37 of us. If you're here, just click that like button so that I see that it's going. And if we can get up to 20 likes, that's kind of like our standard. We like to be sort of like nestled in around there for a morning live streams, our morning ritual. So any help you can give me or give us to get there is definitely appreciated. So thank you very much for doing that. I'm from United States. Please answer my questions. That's funny. 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗲𝗁 Utah. All right, thank you very much. And so what we got here is, once in a while I don't see your questions, so you know, just I appreciate your understanding of that, you know. But I'm here definitely to review your questions. Every time I will definitely, Aaron Matthews, yo, sup? I'm definitely here to answer your questions. So every time I take a break to stretch, I'll definitely review the questions. If you're here, can you just bang on that like button for me? Just give that like button a bang. Just like it, and then that will it'll trigger, get us up to 20 likes. That would be wonderful. Appreciate it. I really appreciate that. So thank you very much. And then the second one, we're using fingers 1 is the power finger. Finger 2 on the next string is the power finger. Finger 3 on the next string is the power finger. The next string, so we're using 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you hear this, we're working up to this exercise with Mr. Vi. All right, so we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then we start over again with 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then we shift up to position number 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. You're right. Do you see where we're going with that? So that's a really great plan. If you wouldn't mind, if you're here, I see 40 of us here. Can you just smash that like button? Can you smash that for me, please? I appreciate it. It's oh, yeah, thank you, Aaron. I see that he says consider your like button banged. Bang on that love button. I guess it's not a love button, but it is a good thing to do. And position figure number 3 was it was one, again, from Steve Vai's 10-hour guitar workout. Position number 3 is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so now what we're doing is we've taken the pattern that we established where we span over the strings, and we're applying it to the chromatic approach on the high E string, or single string. We'll say single string only, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then so this is causing us to watch exactly where our first finger is. This is another way, just a reminder that says, hey, guitar player, pay attention to where the finger 1 is, because that's an important piece of the pie. And it might be the center of the pie. It might be the whole pie. That first finger's position is really important. It's the position indicator. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. The next pattern is 2, 3, 4, 1. And then the next pattern after that is 3, and then 4. So we could do it all on one position, but we're going to train ourselves to use this as an ascender. Right, instead of, oh, that would have been first finger, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 3, 4, 1, and then 3, 4, 1, 2, and then 4, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that would be a great exercise to accomplish and perfect. Now let's take a quick look at figure number 4. Oh, Raul, Mr. Raul says, smash that like button like it owes you money. Yes, smash it. Yeah, here we have the enforcer. Very nice. I tried playing it along with you, but it's super weird to play for the first time. Yeah, Utah, it's definitely, it's a tough one. But hopefully you remember that piece, and then I don't want to saturate all of us with too many things, but I'm going to add one more figure to this program, okay? And that figure is, it starts on fingering 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, and then we're going to use a fingering simile. So another part of the guitar is its patternistic identification. You know, you can, if you're good at identifying patterns, the guitar will eventually unlock itself for you. And then if you're not good at identifying patterns, the guitar will still eventually unlock it for you, because it will help you to become good at pattern identification. So it's just one of those things it's such a great art form to practice. It's one of the, it's one of the arts, right? So now all we're doing is we're using fingers 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. And then we're using 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, and then etc. All right, so it's very simple. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. We're, instead of using 1, 2, 3, or a binary pattern, or a duple pattern, multiples of 2, he's encouraged us to say, hey, guitar player, you also have patterns where you're going to need to use fingers, 1 or only 3 fingers. So we're using 1, 3, and 4 with 3 attacks here, but we have, or 3 options here, and we only have 2 options here, binary or duple over here, versus the tertiary or ternary function over here. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Let me play this along with a metronome. Hey, I see we made 20 likes. Thank you so much. If you're here, just hit it again. Or if you're brand new here, if you haven't hit the like button on this video, go ahead and click like on this. I really appreciate it if you love the video or like the video. But if not, it's not a deal breaker. I still care about you as a person, and I'm sure you're here for a reason, and I want to encourage you to come back. 1 and 2 and 3, and so it's down, up, down, up, down, up. Ready? 1 and 2, and very simple, go. 1 and 2 and 3, and down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up. And then actually he says, oh, instead of doing the descending, we'll do the ascend on the descend. So it'll be 1, 3, 4, fingers 1, 3, 4. Yeah. And then we start the same thing. And you see where this is going to take us. This is going to take us into the world of the blur. 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, and then Bob Clearmountain talks about the blur, as his mixing sort of technique, where he would mix delay and distortion into, a guitar line or a saxophone line, but the distortion over time 1 3 4 1 3 4. That would become a blur, you know. So this is going to become a speed development technique for us. So that's figure 4. We have figures 1 through 4 now. I'm just going to put this book aside. Whoa, whoa, who's that? You know, just a wonderful guitar player. I started listening to Mr. Steve Vai with his Flexible album, which was a self-produced, you know, just wonderful, wonderful work. Just a remarkable work. It just makes me wonder, like, why am I not spending all of my waking hours in the guitar studio just kind of recording like little brilliant pieces of work? And it does take time. It does take some motivation to get ourselves there, to write the thing, to record the thing, to play the thing, to learn the thing, and then just do it. You know, that's really exciting. All right, Limon, hey, today, Big Rock Candy Mountain Day, big day. So we're dropping that video on the channel later today. So I wanted to let you know I'm thanking you for being here and encouraging us to get that done. And not here this morning in the live stream, but later as a curated video, like a full instruction with tablature too. So you can go download the tablature and stuff, blah, 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 okay? All right, smash that like button. I tried. Smash that like button. Keep smashing it, you know. Let's see. Good morning, buddy. How's it going? Yeah, you know how it's going. Everything's great now that you're in the house. And share these lessons with your friends. You know what? Share these, not lessons, but if you have friends that you think, you guitar playing friends you think might like this series and ongoing series and might like to touch base, you know, just share it with them, please. I definitely appreciate that. We all appreciate it. The more the merrier. And Matiko, good morning. Good morning, brother. How's it going today? Biswa, hello. You look a little bit like Garth with the hat and glasses. Yeah. That issue of Guitar Player magazine, I'll tell you what issue it is. It's the very famous Guitar World magazine. It's a very famous magazine because this is the only place that was ever published that Steve Vai's 10-hour guitar workout. And this was when he was touring with Whitesnake, this huge push. He's always had I don't know how he's done it. He's always had the skill, right? And because he's had this skill and this like genius that he's developed, right? He's got this, I don't know if marketing comes easy. I don't think the marketing hits everybody, but it hits who it needs to hit. It's just brilliant the way he's marketed himself over the years, you know. And that Hydra route, I mean, geez, come on. January 1990 is the Guitar World that you're looking for, you know. Yeah. There are so many guitar players like that are out there. Just they have their own voice. They've cultivated their own voice, and they've contributed to the literature of humanity because of that. They've taken the time to do that. You know, you look a little like Garth. I'll take that as a compliment. Aaron Matthews. Do you like Elliott Smith? He's probably my favorite guitar player. His fingerstyle playing is just insane. You know, it's funny you mentioned that today. Were you here at the beginning of the session where I talked about today's the day where we're talking about fingernail shaping if you're sticking around? So it's funny you mentioned that. And so thank you for mentioning that. I also wanted to do a couple more things before I let you kind of get rolling. It's really important to just kind of keep working on these, you know, major 7 inversions, right? And then ascend and then descend, and get these things done correctly so that we know, you know, the 4-note groupings on contiguous strings. We're working on that right now. And then we have this nice, see, I haven't been able to do this one, but I'm getting better at it because I'm practicing it. Now, if I practice it more seriously, if I become more observant of this, then I know I know what I need to do this every time more consistently. I'm way above where I should be in my comfort zone on the guitar, the acoustic guitar without a cutaway. And so this fingering is challenging for me, but I know that if I go from here to here now, I need to get what I would do if I wanted to practice this shape from here, the transition to here, to get it smoothly executed. I would have to kind of position my body in a different manner, right? Consistent with getting that reach. And then what I'm going to do is try to do that same thing over the span of the next 4 strings down, the 4 contiguous middle strings of the guitar, and then this is C major 7, and then I'm going to do the same thing here, C major 7 on the next string grouping down, which is 5 1 3 7 3 7 3 1 5 1, and then root 5 3 7 3, and then 3 root 5, and then we have 3 7 5, and then 1 3 7 1 and 5. So these things they shan't be overlooked, lads and lasses. All right. So we can create all we want with that. You know, we can play minor 7s. We did minor 7s last time. So we have this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here, and then we're back up to minor 7 up here. And then we have the 4 middle strings, and then we have the 4 middle strings that we're really working on. We could make that a minor 9, which is basically the same shape that we used for the first inversion for the major 7 chord. So C minor 9 would be here, but we're using just minor 7s for now. And then flat, here's the 4th inversion, okay? And then we're using the bottom 4 strings, so the 5 root, flat 3, flat 7, and then we use the flat 7, flat 3, 5, and then 1, and then we have a 1, 5, flat 7, and flat 3. And then we use the flat 3, flat 7, the 1, and 5. And so now what we're trying to do is commit all of these things that we're picking up in our chord chemistry series by Ted Greene right here on the city. So I have a playlist called Ted Greene's Chord Chemistry, and I would highly encourage you, if you're not familiar with that playlist yet on my channel, it's a very lengthy process. It's ongoing, but we're covering the entire book of chord chemistry by the famous, world famous book. Even Kurt Rosenwinkel talks about it. It's like he talks about Ted, Mr. Greene, Mr. Van Epps, and only 4 books that he ever mentioned, and he's like one of the world's greatest guitar players, in my opinion. And so Mr. Ted Greene did something of lasting value for all of us. And go grab the book. You can find a link in the descriptions, any of the descriptions of those videos, and follow along with us, please. We're doing page by page, word by word, chord by chord. So if you want to really learn some chords on the guitar, trick is it can seem like a little bit when you go through the book the first time. Some of us put the book down, we get to page 11 and we're like, nah, no thanks. Whew, scary stuff. But some of us we'll put the book down and never come back to it. But it's we're guiding each other through it. We're working through it one step at a time. And sometimes the book still seems a little So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of helping us to organize those chords that might seem all over the place into a manageable. Here's why we're doing this, right? Because we want to be able to link all of these chords together as landmarks as we negotiate the guitar neck, right? So that's what's going on here in my mind, right? At the moment, anyway. It'll be something different later on, but. And then we didn't talk about dominant 7 yet. So we have the 3, flat 7, the 1, and the 5, and then we have the 5, 1, 3, and the flat 7, and then the flat 7, 3, 5, 1, and then the 1, 5, flat 7, and 3. And then the 3, flat 7, 1, and 5. We could make that an augmented, C7 augmented, by just raising the 5, right? Yeah. Yeah, I saw that love go by. Thank you. So we have the C7 and the 4 middle strings, so we're using root 5, flat 7, 3. Then we have the 3, flat 7, 1, 5 on the top. And then we have the 5, 1, 3, flat 7, or 6, 13, whatever you want, or 9, but right now it's just a simple inversion of a dominant 7. And then we have the flat 7, 3, 5, and then 1. Yeah. We have a lot of fun with all of this stuff. Since we did that on the 7s on the top 3, 4 strings, and then we're doing the 4 middle strings, let's do the bottom 3 strings. So we have the 5, the root, the 3, and the flat 7. Reptar. Aaron Matthews, do you like Elliot? Love it. Oh, I might have to stick around. I didn't even know about fingernail shaping. Yeah, it's a good thing. Let's do it. Yeah. Reptar, great vibe. You should be a vibrator. Hey, good job. Where's the kick drum and a snare when you need it? Or the snare and the hi-hats when you need it. Kevin, I'm sorry to keep you over, but I really appreciate you letting us know. And I've got a hat tip ready for you. And we'll see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow. And great to everybody. Until tomorrow. Absolutely. We're going to work on keeping this session dialed in. We're going to get more and more, cogent as we proceed, so we can keep ourselves on time. Way too fast. Can't build chords this fast with intervals. Yeah, that's the thing about this, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to release these as separate videos, like instructional videos, and just feel free. I know most of us like to hit YouTube for a retention edit, because if I don't feel like I get a dopamine hit every, I think 5 seconds was the last research I looked at, but I think it's even smaller now. And if there's not a whip transition or a or some kind of graphic just flying in and flying out, I might lose retention. But I'm not really about, we've talked about this, Raul. It's like, I can't absorb anything. I cannot create a learning environment. And if I can't create a learning environment, then there's no chance in heck that anyone who wants to learn anything is going to learn anything, right? So thank you very much for reminding me about the pacing. And you always have these really great points to contribute, and I really appreciate that. And you're helping us to maintain set the temperature. You know what I mean? I appreciate you checking the temperature once in a while, not being worried about that. That's super helpful. Matt Ladroga, new sub. I have to get the day going, but thanks for the knowledge. Yes, thank you for coming. To see you again tomorrow at 7:30, hopefully. Yeah, all right. So let's take a quick look at, just run through these, just with me so you can see it one time, but just know I'll come back to these and make these publicly available. So we have the 5, the root, the 3, and the flat 7. And then I'm using the flat 7 in the bass, the 3, the 5, and the 1. And these are all contiguous strings. They're grouping together, and then the 5, the 1, 5, flat 7, and 3. And then the 3, flat 7, 1, and 5. Everything it's all the same idea, but we're converting, major between major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5, and these kinds of things. We're really working on getting these things dialed in, because these are a huge part of what Mr. Greene is hoping that he's hoping that we can translate this into something useful for our own purposes. And he's not saying you shall play it the way I tell you to play it for this reason, but you are going to play the song, and you are going to get these chords. And if you stick with it, if you don't make it through the book, it's a deep loss that we'll never be able. It's incalculable. But if we proceed through the books, and books like this, and the actions like this, the benefits are, I'm sure we have millionaire friends. I have a lot of millionaire friends who are like, the only reason that you fail in business, Jason, is because you don't think big enough. right? So the only reason is because we don't think big enough, right? It's literally that's literally how some of us think. And we, well, I've got a dream. Well, your dream isn't working because it's not big enough. So don't hesitate to, if things don't work right away, just keep, obviously, I'm old enough to know that some things don't work out, and that's just the end of the story. But if you stick with it, you can try again, or regroup, or rearrange, or reframe, and get it done, And I think there are a few of us here in this channel right now who are those kinds of people, Oh, West Virginia country boy. Can you play Over the Hills and Far Away? I don't know. The thinker is the thought. That's, yeah, see, I love that. I love that, man. The thinker is the thought. I've got to get back to the basic and the fundamental pieces of the guitar. And I wanted to incorporate one more thing today. There were two other things. I'm not sure if I'll have the time, but the first thing that I wanted to talk about is, because we're in the key of the C-ishness, and then there's another one, the major, C major 7 augmented. Just so many great things to do on the guitar. But we have C. Let's take a look at what happens if we use C. What is it? Let's go ahead. Where are we at here? We're going to start here. We'll call this the sharp 5 of C. So let's take a look at sharp 5, and then 1, and then 9, and then 3, and then sharp 4, and then sharp 5. Oh, flat 7, sorry. Flat, yeah, and I know you were probably going to check me on that. So here's Over the Hills and Far Away is definitely a possibility, right? But let's take a look at flat or sharp 5 on the D string, fret number 6, and then we have the root note. So we're talking about C augmented, symmetrical scale. We'd start with just building a pattern that we can repeat and playing across the guitar neck. Sharp 5, 1, 9, 3, sharp 4, flat 7. And you can remember this as a pattern. Right. 1 and 2, and let's take it slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, different tones. Now we work on little pieces. Okay. this is all based on C. C. It's right there. I have the, you know, the flat sharp 5, the 1, the 2, the 9, the 3, the sharp 4, and then flat 7. And up here we're using flat 7, 9, 3, sharp 4, and then sharp 5, and then root note, right? So wherever we go, it's still all part of the whole tone scale. So take that pattern with you today, and I think that's about it. I think that's kind of where we're getting ready to wrap it up for today. So I'm going to leave you with this. I just wanted to, because we're starting some other sorts, some other styles, some other approaches to the guitar. And I noticed that when I was working, I was writing a piece of music the other day, and I noticed that my thumb is, you know, I can get some great tone on the guitar strings, but my fingers aren't shaped quite the way they need to be shaped. So you can see the fingernail shapes are, you know, a little bit, they're slanted. I don't know if I can get that. There you go. You can see that relief there. They're a little bit, there's like a ridge that goes this way, and they're not, I don't use round, extended round fingernails. A lot of people do. But there are other players like the 𝗵𝗴𝗵𝗀𝗵, and then everyone has a different approach to fingerstyle, right? So I try to use the finger as if it were a pick surface. So I just try to think about, you know, this is the shape of my fingernail, and then there's the edge of the pick where it comes. This is loading the string with tension, and then it releases the string. So that's roughly the shape that I want my fingernails to be. See what I mean? I want it to be that shape. Finger string loads over here, and then as I attack, the string is drawn over the fingernail like this, and then reaches release over here. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. But I noticed, even though I've got some preliminary shaping done, I noticed that it's not really working out the way it could, you know. So there's a little bit of a hitch. I'm getting a little bit of a hitch on my thumb, which means I need to take my thumb down a little bit. So I'm going to work on, I'm trying to remember the angle where I'm addressing the string on the guitar with my thumb, and I'm trying to remove that at an angle, and this is the angle. If this is the guitar pick, the guitar neck, I need to have a little higher angle, right? So this is the angle that I'm in need of. So I'm going to learn how to steepen that angle and then make that angle, and then I have to remember that angle when I'm, usually what I'll do is I'll place this on a table and then run the finger over with, you know, it's not hard. I almost never use the hard grit, you know, the 60 grit or whatever that is. I don't necessarily need it, but it's a lot of removal power. And then I'll get underneath, I have to shape the thing. And I'm just trying to think about, when I'm doing this, what is the shape I'm going after? The shape I'm going after is to make it seem like a pick. I basically want to build a ramp, a fingernail ramp for my guitar strings. And then once I do that, I can adjust it. And let me get these over here. So I'm just trying to get a good preliminary angle. And the idea is that the hand arches like this, and every time these fingers are together, and this finger is always the reference point. The thumb is a reference point, a 0, right? So I know, like, when I'm cranking down on the whammy bar and I let it go and it goes, it flutters and eventually finds its 0. This is also, you know, a 0. I'm trying to, when I stroke, I'm going to make a stroke on the guitar. I'll come in and stroke the string and then return to 0. And then you see all these fingers just laying everywhere, just kind of being lazy. These all start to come up to the same level now. Now all of those are zeroed based on this contact with the index finger. This is important for, you know, if you wanted to become a really proficient and very highly skilled. The fundamentals for fingerstyle are super important, and they don't come overnight, that's for sure. It requires a lot of seat time and a lot of repetition and a lot of thoughtfulness, you know, and patience, like everything else, and patience and perseverance. So I'm just going to work on just getting these things down to preliminary shape, and I don't want to do that over my coffee, obviously. and then what I want to do is I'm even shaping my 4th finger, because my 4th finger is a finger picking tool, and I definitely want it to be there for when I need it. It's definitely a tool. See what I mean? It's just definitely something to use. You don't want to overlook it. And then what I would do is, I'm not so keen on the shine, but I definitely am interested in the you know, the precision and taking off any burrs, you know, because those burrs are definitely something you will hear, especially in a recording studio. So when you start setting up to record and you're sitting behind a microphone, and every move you hear the creak of the stool that you're on, I mean, you start to become cognizant of all of those little things that you never thought you would pay attention to before, of all of a sudden, like, reality in your world. And then that includes burrs on the fingernails. So I would recommend that you fashion your fingernails to the point of you know, refinement. You're definitely working on, this is not a finished product. It's not like you get to a point and then all of a sudden I figured out how to shape my fingernails. This is an ongoing, it can be an ongoing process to shape fingernails. So, and then your preferences change over the years. So this is much better. My thumb isn't hanging up. Now I can get so the thumb goes all the way back. It's controlled all the way back to the elbow, right? And then this whole piece of tissue right here follows all the way over the carpals, metacarpals, and down into the phalange, and then this is all one. This whole thing is all one. You don't kind of do this, you know, because you end up picking the string, and you can damage your tone, your capabilities to produce a good quality tone. So if you continue to think about this as like, each finger is like a wand. You know, each finger basically doesn't, you know, you don't, you know, it's not like you're picking up the carrion off the road, like, or the, you know, the eagle looked down at the river below, and, you know, he doesn't get down there and pick up the salmon with his talons. You know, we're not doing that. We could, but this particular technique is developed, this particular fingernail shape is developed for a different kind of technique, right? All right. So let me give you an example. So if I wanted to play Recuerdos del Alhambra, you know, by Antonio de Tárrega, you know, Tárrega, I would use this 1E and a 2E, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, I'm just using, you know, an A minor shape, which is open A, finger 1 on 2 on the D string, fret, finger 3 on fret 5 on the G, and then finger 4 on fret 5 on the G. And then let me just give you the right hand pattern, because it's different, right? And I'm using in thumb, and I'm using, typically we would use the index, middle, and ring fingers to group up on, you know, but we can use the index, middle, and ring fingers to kind of tremolo on the B string, for example. And my fingernail shapes are not quite there. I would obviously want all of these to be the same like timbre and texture. I can feel that the fingernails are better than where we started this morning. So it's just the thumb. Arpeggiating the root, the fifth, and the flat third. That's one of the things that I would practice obsessively. You know what I mean? I would just practice. Fingerstyle is such a great technique, just such a great skill to have. And I wanted to thank you again. So I think without further ado, unless you have any more questions, I'm going to give it a second in case you do have some questions. But if you don't, I think I'm getting ready to move on for today, and then let you carry on with your own practice routines. And we'll plan on seeing you all tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right at regular time, 5 days a week, until we become, you know, guitar monsters. Raul, thank you very much again for all of your wonderful contributions to the guitar world that you're in, that we're in at the moment. Anything else? Nothing. Going once? Going twice? We'll leave this for tomorrow. We'll talk about the strap and how this is going to become an important piece of kit. So bring a strap tomorrow if you don't already have one with you, okay? See you guys then. Thank you very much, Tony. And have a great day. Hasta luego. Oh, and until we meet again, happy picking.